Alpine is a sports car manufacturer that was founded in France in 1955. Their first car was the A106. It was a tiny rear-engined, rear-wheel drive model based on the Renault 4CV chassis. Power initially came from a 750cc engine with between 21 and 43 horsepower, depending on the variant. Power output was small, but the glass fibre body gave a total weight of only 540 kilograms. A later top-spec model had 59 horsepower from a 900cc engine. A total of 650 cars were built in 10 years. 1958 saw the introduction of the A108. It was similar in concept to the A106. It was based on the Renault Dauphine chassis. Engines were also uprated to between 850 and 1000cc. The car was never a commercial success, however, being sold alongside the similar but cheaper A106. 1963 saw the release of the Alpine A110. It was a commercial success for them, and it was also one of their most famous models. When it debuted, power came from a Renault 55 horsepower 1 litre. However, within 2 years, options also included a 1.1 litre with either 66, 85 or 95 horsepower. This was a generous amount in a car that weighed less than 700 kilos, especially by 1960s standards. In 1973, Alpine released the A110 1600S. It was powered by a Renault 17 1.6 which produced 140 horsepower, giving the model a power-to-weight ratio of over 200 horsepower per tonne. The A110 also proved a success in rallying, and it won the 1973 World Rally Championship, beating Lancia. In total, nearly 7,500 A110s were built. 1971 saw the release of the Alpine A310. When it was launched, it was considered underpowered. It was much bigger and heavier than the A110, but only came with a 125 horsepower Renault 1.6. During 1976, the car received a major facelift, and the A310 came with the option of a 150 horsepower 2.7 litre V6. However, it was rear heavy with wayward handling. In 1983, for its last year on sale, it came with the option of a 2.9 litre 190 horsepower V6. However, Alpine only shifted 27 of these, with the A310 never being the success that the A110 was, despite the fact that it came in 4-cylinder and V6 variants. Following the fuel crisis of the early 1970s and the development cost of the A310, in 1973 Renault has to bail out and take control of Alpine. 1984 sees the release of the Alpine GTA. It's the first car fully developed under Renault control. It was one of those aerodynamic cars at the time of its launch. It was originally powered by the same 2.9 litre V6 as the last of the A310s, but it soon came with the option of a 2.5 litre turbo engine with up to 210 horsepower. Top spec cars were capable of over 150 miles an hour and could hit 60 in 5.5 seconds. In 1991, the GTA was replaced by the A610. Although it looked similar due to having the same windows, it was actually a whole new car. Power came from a 3 litre turbo V6, which produced 250 horsepower and could see the A610 up to a top speed of 165. In 1995, the A610 and the Alpine brand as a whole came to an end, making way for the Renault Sport sub-brand of Renault. The Alpine factory went on to build the Clio Williams, the Renault Sport Spider, and the Clio V6. By 2017, Renault had already killed off the Twingo Renault Sport, and the Clio Renault Sport was in its final stages, while the Megane was on the cards to become an electric crossover. Renault decided that this was the perfect time to revive the Alpine brand. Its first new model was the new A110. It weighed just 1,100 kilograms. It was a mid-engined rear-wheel drive sports car with a 1.8 litre turbo that had been borrowed from the Renault Megane Renault Sport. In base spec, it produced 250 horsepower and could see the car up to 16 in 4.5 seconds. Later on, in 2022, Alpine released the A110R. It had the same engine but tuned to 300 horsepower and could hit 60 in under 4. 2024 sees the release of the Alpine A290. It's Alpine's version of the Renault 5. It's electric only and comes available with 180, 210 or 220 horsepower variants. It does 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds, however it doesn't have any direct rivals. Indirect rivals include the electric Mini Cooper SE, the Abarth 500e, the MG4 X-Power and the Alfa Romeo Junior Veloce.